All right, so like I said in my previous video, screening a tenant is like literally the most important thing you can do, right? And it starts from as soon as you like list the property, you get a bunch of people, whatever way you list it, you get a bunch of people that reach out to you and that want to see the property or to ask you questions, right? And before we even show the property, I pre-screen everyone, right? So I ask them roughly credit score, roughly this, roughly that, roughly this. Most people that they don't want to answer it, well, they probably don't want to answer it for a reason, right? And they can tell that you're strict, so they just pass by it, right? So once they pass the pre-screen, you can show them the property and then you send them an application. But before any of that, you have to have a good criteria, and you have to have that criteria across everything. It's got to be consistent, because someone may say that you're discriminating them because of race or whatever, their marital situation or their age or whatever it may be, right? But they can't do that as long as, let's say your criteria is 600 credit score, 3 times income, or income is 3 times the rent, no criminal background, no evictions, right? They can say that all they want if their credit score is 550 and you have it like written on paper that this is how you screen every single tenant, right? So that's super, super important, just so you don't get in trouble. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen or it's common, but it's super important to know your criteria and be consistent throughout everything with it. So then you get to the actual screening process. Since I have a property management company, we use Buildium, right? And we can screen tenants. We can do all this stuff through Buildium, which is sweet. But like I said, if you're doing this yourself, you would be using maybe Zillow to screen tenants, or Cozy. I have never used them. I know they have capabilities though. I always used to use TransUnion. I think it's mysmartmove.com, and you can screen tenants. I think it's like 35 or 45 bucks. You can have them pay or you can pay. I always have them pay for it, and that's for the background check and credit check and eviction report. I do that for every single tenant. Every single time I've heard someone have a terrible tenant, it's because they didn't check any of that stuff. They just seemed like a nice person. Don't ever do that. That's literally how you're gonna get screwed. So every single tenant has to apply. You have to verify everything they put on the application and make sure that it matches what you get back from the credit bureaus and the background checks. And you can call their place of work. You can call previous landlords. On your application, it should say that they signed to give you the right to reach out to those people, and those people give you information. Sometimes they need a separate letter, which is fine. I always do that. Also with the eviction report, you have to be careful, because someone can try to get evicted, or I can try to evict someone, but then before they get evicted, they pay rent. So then the process stops, right? But every month, if that's the same thing, that'll never pop up on their eviction report unless they actually get evicted. And same thing when you're reaching out to landlords, you want to try to reach out to like 2 landlords back, right? Because the guy they're living there now, they might want them out because they're terrible tenants, right? So you always just have to be real careful with that, and kind of read. And also, people can give you numbers of some sketchy thing, but since you're a smart investor, you got the address where they live, and you can match the number to the phone and then skip trace the guy's number. And it just depends how crazy you want to get, but this is like the most important thing. So I always urge people to just be very diligent and do as much screening as they can, right? I think I covered it all. But yeah, if you have any other questions, or just drop them in the comments or send me a DM, and I'd be glad to help out in any way I can. Screen your tenants.